This could change everything for the Eagles. Nolan Smith isn't just training, he's learning from a legend. And what he's doing right now, it's the kind of work that builds monsters. Is Philly about to unleash their next superstar pass rusher? Let's break it all down. And trust me, you won't want to miss this. Something big is happening in Philadelphia, and it's starting with Nolan Smith. Now, let me tell you what fired me up this week. Nolan Smith, the young edge rusher who's been waiting to explode, is out here grinding with one of the greatest sack artists the NFL has ever seen, Robert Mathis. Yes, that Robert Mathis, the Colts legend. A man who had over 100 career sacks, a 5-time All-Pro, and someone who once dropped 19.5 sacks in a single season. That's not just elite, that's rare air. And now Nolan Smith is learning straight from him. They're working together at what's being called the Sack Summit, a place where future stars meet legends to sharpen their craft. This isn't just a casual workout, this is serious work. This is where young players go to transform, not just improve, and Nolan looks locked in. We're talking real trench warfare training. I saw a clip where Mathis is showing Nolan how to chop, spin, and ice pick like a hurricane. It's not just technique, it's violence with precision. It's about knowing when to explode, when to twist, and how to finish with force. The way Nolan moves, the speed, the agility, the focus, you can feel it. He's hungry. You can see it in his body language. He's not just trying to make the team, he's trying to make a statement. And let's not forget who else was spotted out there. Milton Williams, Chris Long, a whole group of Eagles guys linking up, working together, pushing each other. That kind of chemistry off the field, it shows up on Sundays. But Nolan wasn't just working on his hands. He spoke about something deeper. About starting over. He said, it's time to move on from last season. The Super Bowl. That was last year's story. This year, it's about rewriting the ending. And that starts with preparation. That starts with accountability. That starts with handling success the right way. Just like Coach Sirianni keeps preaching. And listen, if Nolan Smith can take even a piece of what Robert Mathis is giving him and apply that to the field this season, we're not just talking about a solid player anymore. We're talking about the next great Eagles pass rusher. Eagles fans, how confident are you in Nolan Smith this year? On a scale from 1 to 10, drop your number in the comments right now. Is he ready to break out and dominate, or does he still need time? Let's hear it! Fly Eagles, fly Rooster Fire. You want to know what separates good teams from great ones? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's how you bounce back after the spotlight fades. Nolan Smith just dropped a message every Eagles fan needs to hear, and Brandon Graham just reminded us why this team is built different. This isn't about last season anymore. This is about legacy. Let's dive in. Nolan Smith isn't just talking like a rookie anymore. He's sounding like a leader. He's ready to fight, ready to lead, and most of all, ready to move on. When asked how it feels heading into the new season, you could feel the passion in his voice. He said it's about getting back on that field with his brothers, the 22 men who gave everything last year. And this year, it's not about rings or stats or headlines. It's about connection, about playing for each other, communicating on and off the field, and having fun again. Just like when you were that kid in high school, running around with your friends, playing the game you love with a big smile on your face. He talked about letting go of what happened in the Super Bowl. That pain, that loss, that's yesterday's news. Nolan said, we're flipping the page. That was last year. Everybody else has moved on, so we have to, too. And man, that hit hard, because it shows he gets it. Even without a Captain C stitched on his chest, Nolan is already stepping up as a voice in the locker room. He's becoming one of those guys you look to, not just during the hype, but when things get hard. And that's huge for a second-year player. It means the culture in Philly is still real. But the message doesn't stop there. Let's talk about Brandon Graham, the heartbeat of this franchise. He recently opened up about something most people never saw. How Nick Sirianni earned real respect inside that locker room during the toughest moments of last season. When the team was struggling, when the noise outside was loud and people were questioning if Sirianni was the right guy, Nick didn't panic. He didn't scream. He didn't fold. He stayed calm. He stayed consistent. He said, we're going to weather the storm. I'm here until they tell me otherwise. Let's just keep working. That's leadership. And according to Graham, something changed after the bye week. The team reset. The message got sharper. The meetings got tighter. Coaches like Vic Fangio kept guys accountable, and little by little, week by week, the energy started coming back, and so did the wins. Graham said it best. If you want to be a great team, it starts at the top. And Nick set the tone. He never wavered, never got too high after wins or too low after losses. He just stayed the course. And now, this team feels different. They're not just chasing another playoff run. They're chasing something bigger. Growth, brotherhood, and a second chance at glory. Eagles Nation, do you believe this team can handle the pressure and run it back? Drop a flex bicep or 100 in the comments if you're riding with this squad in 2025. And let us know, who's the emotional leader of this team now? Nolan Smith or Brandon Graham? Let's talk. Rooster Fire. He was once mocked for talking about flowers. Now he's growing a whole forest of belief in Philly. Nick Sirianni isn't just a coach anymore. He's a symbol of how far this team has come. And now, the NFL still refuses to respect him. Plus, PFF just ranked the Eagles linebacker unit. And what they said might surprise you. Let's break it all down. There's something special about Nick Sirianni, and it's time the rest of the league wakes up and sees it. Brandon Graham said it best. Sirianni didn't just coach the team last year. He held it together when everything was shaking, when people outside the building were doubting, when fans were nervous, when media wanted heads to roll. Nick stayed calm. He kept believing, and that confidence, it trickled down to everyone. No one ever thought this wasn't a good team. The players knew they had the talent. What they needed was leadership that could cut through the noise and focus on the little details, the small mistakes that separate winning from losing. That's exactly what Nick brought to the table, and now he's finally getting some of the respect, but not enough. Let's be real. Every year, these top 10 head coach lists come out, and where's Sirianni? Sometimes he's in the top 5, sometimes he's barely in the top 10, sometimes they leave him out completely. It's wild. Andy Reid is always at the top, deservedly. But then you see guys like Dan Campbell ranked higher than Sirianni, and Dan doesn't even call plays. Same with John Harbaugh. But nobody questions them. Why is Nick treated differently? Maybe it's because he shows emotion. Maybe it's because when the Eagles win, he lets the world know. He yells, he celebrates, he brings that raw Philly energy. And when the team loses, you can see the pain in his face. He wears it all. He's not just coaching, he's living it, just like us fans. So, yeah, maybe the league just doesn't like his personality. But guess what? You can't argue with results. He's been winning. He's been consistent. He just got a multi-year extension. And he's building something real. Let them rank him wherever they want. Because the people inside that locker room, they know who's holding this team together. Brandon Graham even brought up that old moment everyone laughed at, when Sirianni said this team was like a flower, that it needed watering, patience, care. And guess what? That flower? It grew. It grew into a Super Bowl team. So now the question is, can we grow another one? Speaking of growth, let's talk linebackers. Pro Football Focus just released their rankings of the best linebacker units in the NFL, and the Eagles showed up strong. They went through all 32 teams, and guess who came out on top? That's right, the Birds. Why? Let's break it down. They loved what they saw from Zach Bond last year. His speed, his instincts, his ability to get to the quarterback. And even though Nakobe Dean had a bit of a setback, PFF still had him right outside the top 10 in their individual rankings at number 11. Now here's where it gets interesting. They think a young player like Jihad Campbell is going to explode this season, especially next to Bond. They say he's got the tools, the mindset, and the raw power to make noise in this defense. PFF even broke down how Campbell's usage mirrors Bond's. Last year, Campbell played on the edge 14% of the time. Bond, 13%. They're versatile, fast, physical, and if defensive coaches can unlock that, watch out. The Eagles linebackers are fast becoming one of the most dangerous units in football, and it's no longer a quiet rise. People are starting to notice. Let's hear from you, Eagles fans. Is Nick Sirianni one of the top 5 coaches in the league or still underrated? And how confident are you in this linebacker unit? Drop a if you believe in their IQ, or A if you think they're about to make some serious noise this season. Let's get it going in the comments. Rooster Fire. Last year, they were called the worst linebacker unit in the league. Now, people are calling them the best. But are the Eagles linebackers really ready? Or are we still chasing potential? Here's the honest truth about Jihad Campbell, Nakobe Dean, Zach Bond, and why this unit might shock everyone in 2025. All right, let's dig even deeper into this Eagles linebacker story because the spotlight is now on Jihad Campbell, and what I just saw on film tells me why the Eagles are getting so much national hype. There's one play in particular that tells the story. Campbell is lined up on the edge, staring down Brock Bowers, one of the best tight ends in college football. Bowers tries to block him, tries to control him, but Campbell doesn't give an inch. He gets his arm extended, fights through the block, eyes locked in on the ball, and makes a game-saving stop just inches from the goal line. That's what coaches call a winning play. He doesn't just shed the block, he finishes the job. He's the last man standing between the end zone and a touchdown, and he stops it. That's why people are buying in. That's why PFF and the national media are starting to get excited about this linebacker unit. It's plays like that, raw effort, awareness, and physical dominance, that give fans hope. But let's be honest for a second. While the outside world is hyping up this linebacker room, some of us, especially in Philly, still have questions. We know Nakobe Dean might not be back until October or November. That's a big blow. He's smart, he's aggressive, but if he's not on the field, the pressure shifts. Is Zach Bond ready to be the guy again? Last year, he was a breakout star, top 5 in some rankings. But can he keep that up? Can he be consistent week after week, especially when the offense is targeting him now? Then there's Jihad Campbell. All the talent in the world, no doubt, but he's still young, still unproven. Is he ready for an NFL starting role right now? We'll find out in August. Even Try Jr. is a bit of a mystery. Some fans believe in his potential. Others aren't sure he's ready to take on a full-time role. So yes, this linebacker room is exciting, full of upside, but it's also full of unknowns. The funny part is just how far we've come. Last year, not a single Eagles linebacker made it onto PFF's top 32 list. Not one. The entire league thought Philly's linebacker room would be a disaster, even after adding guys like Devin White, Zach Bond, and Nakobe Dean. They were ranked at the bottom. Now, 1 year later, they're calling it the best linebacker group in the league. That's the NFL for you. Things change fast. And yes, it's true. When you're at the bottom, there's only one way to go, up. But it's not just hype this time. There are real signs, real players, that show this group could be legit. But as always, it comes down to one thing. Can they put it all together on the field? So what do you think, Eagles fans? Do you believe in the hype around this linebacker unit? Are we really top 5, or are we being set up for disappointment? Drop your rating from 1 to 10 in the comments and tell us which linebacker you're most excited about. Bond, Campbell, Dean, or Try Jr. Let's keep the conversation going. And fly, Eagles, fly. Rooster fire.